that this could be a crucial problem. Now, there are a couple of various manner in which you can go about doing market research study, and will quickly speak about the now. However, I am not mostly likely to go into depth since it would take me way too much for this video clip. The very first one is to check out Car Seat Car. Sync is a cost-free tool. I definitely love it. I discussed it a lot in my video clips. They have some truly excellent utilization devices that permits to see what local need is for different types of cars. I extremely motivate you to check it out. An additional way that involves the mail that has actually been sort of a tried and also true technique is, I will certainly go into True's site. I will look up my city that I am wishing to place my automobiles in. And also this example, I might utilize Denver, Colorado, and after that I will pick a date for a tomorrow pickup. So I am videotaping this video on Thursday, July 28th, as well as I am most likely to select the date for Friday, July 29th. As well as you can see right here, you can see where the automobiles lie in Denver, how many dots there are, what kinds of cars are available, and this will give you an excellent suggestion of what cars are available to rent out with the less than 1 day notification. After that, acknowledge that as we as a nation head right into a financial recession, there is a good chance that Tara will certainly be affected in some way, form or type. And however, I don't believe that it will certainly be a tear recession. I do believe that we might anticipate to see a little decline in usage, and also though I have actually spoken about this in a great deal of other video clips, I intend to take a brief moment as well as go over a few points of just how you can prepare for this. Now, foremost as well as very first, is re-evaluating your fleet. I've talked about this thousands of times on this network, yet I directly am truly awkward with the idea of funding a bunch of autos for the sake of Turo. I assume funding a couple of is alright. Once you specify where you more than leveraged with financial obligation and your churro fleet, I think it's actually dangerous. And right now cars and truck costs are still really high, and also if somebody that has a lot of financed autos, it might be a good time to consider which autos. You might offload several of those automobiles and afterwards use the cash that you make from that sale in order to get some money cars. Second of all, is to know your market. Make certain that you're keeping an eye on what your market needs. What vehicles are out? 3 vital parts that I believe that you ought to bear in mind in the context of peer-to-peer car sharing in this impending Turo recession. The very first factor is, are we in the Taurus recession? We are most likely to be breaking down this response, as well as I'm most likely to be discussing why I believe we are or are not an 8 or an economic downturn, and whether or not I think when it's coming. Number 2, we're going to be discussing low need, what causes it, and also exactly how can you combat it. And also, number 3, exactly how can you prepare for a decline in demand or for a term recession? If one is in reality impending, primarily, let's answer the inquiry of, are we in Turo economic downturn, or are we on the verge of a turbo economic crisis? And also I think that the answer to that concern is no. Yet I do believe it is important to acknowledge that on the Turo platform, as well as in cars and truck sharing, certain cars and trucks will be influenced drastically various than others in the case of an economic crisis. As an example, if you have a fleet of premium luxury cars, your fleet is most likely to be far more drastically hit by a financial slump than someone that has a fleet of electric autos or of low-end economic situation automobiles, or if you're someone who rents primarily to regional tenants, someone that is seeing a decline in demand and also application. What exactly could be causing that? I'm ignorant or not blind to the reality that some Turo hosts are experiencing a decline in reservations. I spoke to hosts everywhere, and also as numerous hosts as they see that are having booming company. I likewise spoke to a lot that are struggling and are having a difficult time attracting new visitors to their vehicles. Hosts that claim it's been days or weeks since their last reservation. They have an empty calendar for August as well as September, and also they have actually been lowering their price, and yet their automobiles still aren't getting leased. As well as in my viewpoint, if you're someone who's experiencing a decrease in bookings, it's not as a result of the turbo economic downturn. It's not due to platform large oversaturation. It usually can be identified to 3 different things. The first one is the kind of car that you have. It is unbelievably vital to do market research study of where you're located, where your fleet's most likely to lie, and to comprehend what types of autos are required in your location. as well as to do the proper research study prior to buying that cars and truck. Turo as a platform is not oversaturated, yet Turo does have specific markets that are oversaturated with particular autos, and if you're someone who's really having a hard time to obtain bookings, which ones are underserved, and to recognize which rate you need to be valued in your cars at doing market research doesn't have to be made complex, as well as it can be something that you do on a weekly and even monthly basis. And naturally, you can make use of the approach that I pointed out earlier, where you contrast various days and take a look at the present cars that are readily available. As well as, of course, the third and also final idea is diversity. Diversification is always a great thing. Not only within your fleet, yet likewise within your various earnings streams. This is something that I've spoken about a lot on this channel since I started YouTube. I think that expanding your income is just one of the best points that you can do, specifically in times of financial uncertainty. As much as I love with, and as long as I assume, it is among the very best side hustles around. I personally would certainly never ever count on Turo for 100% of my earnings. You should be, if will be just 10 or 20 cards available. You can do this with a selection of various filters as well as price factors. Like for example, if you were wishing to acquire an auto that might be noted on Turo for $40 to $50 for a day, you can set a filter on the excursion website for $40 to $50 each day prices. You can then do this specific same thing, and you can see how the demand looks for these autos. This will certainly offer you a great concept of what types of vehicles are being leased, and afterwards market which ones aren't being leased, and the amount of each type of car there is. This will give you a great deal of different understanding on which cars you ought to buy and also which ones you need to stay clear of. And also, believe me, I understand that this technique isn't foolproof, yet it does give you a great deal of understanding. Another issue might be your cost factor. If your pricing, your cars and truck is way greater than your rivals, you're not going to get kings, and also due to this, it will certainly result in reduced use. I talk to a great deal of hosts that are worried about low usage, yet after that, whenever I consider their autos are priced for in between $10 as well as $20 each day more than everybody else in their market, they see what kinds of cars and also the number of them are roughly offered in my location. Tomorrow, I will then return to the date option, as well as I will pick a date, and that's a market for months in advance. So I'm taping this video clip in July. I'm mosting likely to proceed, as well as I'm mosting likely to pick the date for October. So I'll go October 17th to October 20th, and I'll see which autos are readily available. I'll then scroll via these cars and I'll see what types of vehicles are available, exactly how they vary from the cars and trucks that are available tomorrow, as well as what the data programs. This is not a foolproof approach to reveal you what sort of need there is in your market. Yet by considering autos that are available 3 months from now, you obtain a pretty good concept of the number of autos are noted in the Denver market or in your individual it, and also at what rate point and afterwards. Whenever you consider those cars and trucks compared to the cars that are readily available tomorrow, you can get a concept of the amount of those cars have been rented out. As an example, it's really typical for there to be 300, 400, 500 cars and trucks available 3 months ahead of time. Yet if you look for cars that are available with a less than 24-hour notification often, over the last few months, I have actually been seeing more and more discuss a turtle economic crisis, talks of utilization, lowering vehicles resting for extended periods of time, as well as Turo host losing cash. And in today's video, we're going to be speaking about the fact behind these Turo economic crisis claims, whether you must be worried, and naturally, how you can prepare. So allows begin. The last 2 years have created an excellent tornado for Turo and also automobile sharing, host auto scarcities. Made it challenging to acquire a car at a cost-effective rate. Rental scarcities made it difficult to find a rental vehicle at a budget-friendly price, and stimulation settlements made people flush with cash money. Set this with the fact that throughout the pandemic, individuals really did not wish to fly on airplanes, and so, consequently, they leased autos. Made it the perfect storm for Turo host around the entire nation to make a lots of money. Truthfully, I have actually remained in Turos for 5 years in the last 2 years or so. It has actually never been a much better time to be a host Ontario or any type of vehicle sharing platform for that matter. However, times are transforming, rate of interest are increasing, companies are letting go of their staff members, and several people Either economic crisis is impending. However, the genuine inquiry is, should you be worried? Currently, in this video I am mosting likely to be needing a cars and truck to commute. You're going to be a lot more recession immune compared to a business model that relies on travelers as well as vacationers as well as a financial recession. Touro hosts are mosting likely to be affected drastically differently, depending upon where they're located, what types of cars and trucks they're renting, as well as their price point. As well as for me, I specified a Touro recession as a decrease in bookings throughout the board for various markets, different automobiles. Simply a total decline in service, which just merely isn't what I'm currently seeing. I talked to a lot of various hosts throughout the country, as well as there are a wide variety of different residents with various cars in various markets that are still doing extremely well. I have 18 vehicles myself, and I in fact had a record month this month. So Touro demand exists, and there perhaps turn a pipe available that are seeing a reduction in bookings as well as therefore a decrease in earnings. Yet I do not believe that this is because of a Touro economic crisis, as well as I do not believe that Touro is presently experiencing a platform vast reduction in bookings. So, regarding a turtle economic crisis goes, I do not assume it's something to be concerned about, at the very least not right now. However, then that obviously brings us to the second point of this video clip, which is with Touro, rate factor is a massive aspect, otherwise the largest factor, as well as if your cars are extra costly than another vehicle of a similar trim, make as well as design. After that, your vehicle isn't going to get rented out, as well as the third reason might be seasonality. The truth is Touro, like lots of businesses, is network somewhat. Certain times of the year are more busy than others. Since it appears currently diverse is sluggish due to the fact that it negative organization, there is a distinction to being slow moving. And also it is very important to understand what kind of period your market has. Are you busy throughout the summer season? The winter time? Are you busy all year round? Just how does your market respond to different trends and also different periods? Based upon that, details will certainly determine exactly how your fleet executes throughout the year. Getting acquainted with the seasonality of your company is very important due to the fact that real is seasonal. So understanding what to anticipate every year, month after month, and understanding exactly how to set a clients accordingly is how you're going to end up making Touro extra sustainable. Currently, with all of this being said, I do recognize the truth that as we head right into an economic recession, Touro in its entirety will probably see a decrease in bookings. It's simply natural, given the financial scenario. Currently, with all this being said, I